If I had to sum up my 2025 reading year, it would be these books, these authors, and these book content creators. Hello everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel, Favor's Favor. My name is Favor. I'm so excited to see you guys today. I hope you guys like this video and I hope you subscribe if you haven't already. Today's video is going to be talking about my favorite books, my favorite authors, as well as my favorite book content creators that I've watched on the regular and have inspired my channel in some way. If you guys haven't already watched this video where I talk about my reading journey so far, it hasn't been quite a year. Right now it's only at 7 months, but still these are the group of books, people that have inspired my reading year. So let's get right into it. So the first category we're going to be talking about are my favorite books. So these are not ranked, but the one thing I do want to say is that every single book that I'm going to mention are books that I would totally reread. So these are like my favorite books. So the first books, I'm cheating with this one because it's a whole series and I read this series in my first month of reading, all 3 books in the same month. I mean, I'm just going to count it as one, and that series is the Skyline series. So we have Before I Let Go, This Could Be Us, and Can't Get Enough by Kennedy Ryan. I would say though that out of the 3, I feel like This Could Be Us was my favorite one. I believe I read this book in one day, like I want to say about 24 to 30 hours. But the whole series, I feel like I would rate the whole series like a 5 stars. It's Kennedy Ryan, and like I've said in that video, I don't know if my reading journey would have progressed as well as it did if I didn't start with this book. This was the first book I read starting my reading journey. Definitely not going to forget this book or this series anytime soon. So the next book I have is, I feel like one of my few nonfiction books that I read, and this is a memoir. It is Matriarch by Tina Knowles. Obviously, Tina Knowles is Beyonce and Solange's mother, and I love Beyonce, I love Solange, so like, I'm not gonna lie, her being their mother is a big influence on me picking up the book, but I would say it's not the main influence on me actually reading the book and enjoying the book. Like, I really enjoyed the book, and it's not a small book too. Like, I want to say it's like 400 pages, yeah, about 408 pages. So like, it's not a small book. The quality of the book is really nice, and it comes with like pictures of when Tina was a baby, even when Beyonce, Solange were babies. I enjoyed, you know, what she talked about. Obviously, if you're fans of Beyonce or Solange, you would enjoy reading a book like this. And she just made historical fiction sound really nice to me. I highly suggest that you get the book, but you listen to the audiobook because she narrates it, and it was a game changer for me. I think it was one of like my first audiobooks, and I really enjoyed this. If you guys still haven't read this book, let this be one of nonfiction books you pick up in 2026. So the next book I have here is by Kennedy Ryan, and that is Real by Kennedy Ryan. I rated this book at 5 stars. This is about Neva Saint and Cannon Holt, and the good thing about this book right now is the part 2 of this series comes out in May. So if you guys haven't watched my anticipated book releases, I talked about that book in that video and a bunch of other books that are really good coming out next year, so check it out. This book, again, also not like a small book. It's like about 460 pages, but I edited up. I used one of my Audible credits to get the audiobook because before Score comes out, I will be rereading this book. I feel like this is gonna be one of my rereads for next year. And if you know me, I don't even rewatch shows. I don't rewatch movies. So for me to even feel like I'm actively making plans to reread a book, even when there's like a ton of books on my shelf that I could be reading, that's how you know the book is good, right? So Kennedy Ryan, if you still haven't read any of Kennedy Ryan's book, please let 2026 be the year. She's just such a phenomenal writer, and like, I can't wait to like start my new year reading the Hoops series. Again, I just put out my January TBR, and I talked about starting the Hoops series as the first book I will read in the new year. So Kennedy Ryan, I'm definitely bringing her into 2026 with me, and I hope she just continues to write. And you know, if she wants to release more than 1 book a year, I would also love that. Now we're gonna go to my next favorite book, and that is Sweet Heat by Bolu Babalala. So this book definitely had me in a little bit of a chokehold. I believe I like filmed 1 or 2 vlogs when I read this book. So if you haven't checked it out, I'll have the link to my vlog playlist. This book was just so good because, like I said in my whatever August wrap up or whenever it was that I read this book, the good thing about this book was, first of all, it was following two people that most people already read about in the first book, Honey and Spice. But honestly, you don't even need to read Honey and Spice to read this book. But it's advised just so you can read more by Bulu Bubble, because why not? She's a good writer. I enjoy the way she writes her book, the way she writes conversations, the way she writes her character, like make it feel like, and actually I was about to say make it feel like it could be a movie, but I feel like I saw on Instagram that Honey and Spice is being made into a movie. I can't wait to watch that, because that would be so nice. And if you've read the book, you will know that the way she writes her book, you could almost kind of like see some of it playing out. And this is about Kiki and Malachi, the same couple in Honey and Spice when they were in college, but now it's like post-college. They've actually broken up, and now they're coming back for one wedding of their friends. I think it was Amina, and I don't remember Amina's husband's name, but was also a friend of Malachi. And this book just showed how much, life happens, especially in your mid to late 20s when, college is over, but you might still be figuring yourself out. Maybe you have a job that you don't like, or you don't have a job and you live in a home, especially now. So it's like, I really enjoy this book so much. And this video is not going to be talking about what each book is about. This is mainly just me talking about my favorite books and why they're my favorite books, if I can actually pull words together. But that's this book. Now, this book might actually be my favorite romance of the year. I don't know, because I just talked so good about Sweet Heat and Real. I'm like, is it? But this book is Fast by Millie Belizer. This book is so good and sad and just wonderful. This was a book club pick for one of my book clubs, and I enjoyed it so much. Like, I love the depths that the author went with this book. And check your trigger warnings. There's talks of abuse, sexual abuse, and different type of stuff. The fact that the author was able to like spin some of it and just not make the book so much about the abuse was just so good. And please just read it. Like, it's also not like a small book. It's about 360 pages, but I promise you it goes by fast. This is the kind of book that you would want to binge, and just even after it was done, it was like, is there a part 2? Like, ma'am, come back and give me more on this story. But this was just so good. So good. Like, please, if you haven't already, add this book to your 2026 TBR. For the next two books I want to talk about, I don't have physical copies of. I got ARCs for both books. One of them is already out and the other one comes out in April. So the first one I want to talk about is The Full Picture by Jessica Carmichael. I believe this book got released December 1st, but I read it back in like October, I want to say. This is a YA book. I didn't read a lot of YA books, and I wouldn't consider myself like a YA reader, but I believe I read about 4 or 5 YA books, and this was my favorite YA book that I read this year. I highly recommend it. It didn't really feel like a YA book, plus it was a debut book. Like, it was really good. It's not a long book at all. I want to say it was about 270 pages. And it's still like new, so if you haven't read it, I have talked about it multiple times, so please go check it out. I can't wait to actually get my physical copy of it. I remember when I filmed my last vlog, I showed that I went to Barnes & Noble, but they didn't have any copies of it in any store. So I'm still gonna get it when I can. But I believe I rated that book like a 4.5 stars. It's about Robin. She visits Ghana for the first time at like 18. So like, that's December. Just think of like Christmas, New Year vibes in Ghana. And so there's also like real life stuff spun into the book. There's a romance between two males. So like, definitely packed for such a small book. I highly recommend it. Definitely a favorite. So the next book I want to talk about is Love by the Book by Jessica George. If this is not your first video of mine, you probably have heard me talk about this book. This is a book that I see myself rereading next year when I have the physical book. It was just such a good book. Like I've said it multiple times, this is a book that explores platonic romance, especially when it comes to friendships, because there's a lot of books about romance, but it's usually man and woman, woman and woman, man and man. But like, what about your friends? Everybody talks about one in a village, but like, are you actually investing in a village? One in a village, you have to also be part of somebody else's village. I really enjoyed that book, and there was just so much thrown into it. There were different archetypes of women in their mid to late 20s that were like talked about in that book. Those are those two books. So now the last three I want to talk about are books that like you guys probably don't know about, especially if this is the first video of mine you're watching. And this first book is The Last Summer on State Street by Toya Wolf. I literally found out about this book through Bookmark by Leah. Aside from her, I don't think I've seen any other booktuber or book content creators talk about this book, and it's so good. Like, it was an unexpected 5-star for me. If you know me, I literally know nothing about like what it feels like to live in the Chicago project, but I believe this is, although this book is fiction, it definitely reads like an autobiography fiction. Like, there's no way the author did not pull from personal experience to like write this book. And I believe it's about the Chicago's Robert Taylor homes and them being like demolished in the summer of 1999, and it follows 3 girls about 12 or 13, and also pretty short book. I also listened to like the audiobook for this one too, and it's really nice to like listen to like the accents. That's why I'm just like, when people want to talk about, oh, you only read so much because you listen to audiobook, and what? Because some of these books are literally like productions when you're listening to it. Like, I really enjoyed this book. This is a book that I just feel like you need to go into it. And I guess if you don't like it, you're going to find out pretty early on that you don't like it. And if you love it, you're just going to keep reading and keep reading until you finish it. So really enjoyed this book. So now these last 2 books are my short story collections, both about Nigerian authors, about Nigerian characters, and I just enjoyed it so much. The first one I want to talk about is A Broken People's Playlist by Chimeka Garrix. This one I rated 5 stars. The concept of this book is so good. Literally, each chapter is inspired by a certain song that you can actually like go to Spotify and listen to, and it's really fun to like listen to the song first and go like read the chapter. But this book is sad. Actually, both books are pretty sad, so like don't think you're gonna be having a jolly time. Honestly, depending on how emotional you are, you probably might cry on one of these stories. It really is A Broken People's Playlist. I really enjoyed it. Just so smart and so good. And I actually bought Chimeka Garrix's debut novel that came out before this book. I'm hopefully going to be reading that in 2026, but I also do hope that he releases more books, because I don't think he's released anything else after this book. So highly recommend it. So the last book I'm going to be talking about was one that also took me by surprise, and that is Hail Mary by Fumi Feto. I don't even think this book has like 200-300 ratings on Goodreads. I can't even remember how I found out about the book, but I eventually, when I actually read it, I fully listened to it on audiobook, and that's something that I've never done until this book. Most of the time I immersive read, so like I do physical and audio. I usually don't listen to a whole book on audio, but I did it with this book, and it was so good because the author herself narrates the book, so like she was able to like pronounce the Yoruba words very well, like the Nigerian words, because that's one of my pet peeves of just having narrators that don't fit the book that they're narrating. This book also pretty sad. Like, don't go into it thinking it's all a jolly time. It's not. It's sad, and it's a small book too. So like the last 4 books I've talked about are literally like under 250 pages for sure. So books that you can definitely add to your 2026 TBR. Also, I forgot to mention 2 books that weren't favorites but had really unique plots, and books that I would remember for a while. And the first one is Wild Dark Shore by Charlotte McConaughey. This book definitely surprised me. The whole plot of, honestly, the second book is Death of the Author by Nnedi Okorafor. These are 2 books that I read that were set on a different like planet, maybe. This one was set in like an island close to Antarctica, and this was like sci-fi mixed with literary fiction. So I just wanted to pop in and talk about these 2 books. They were in like 5 stars. I think I rated both of them at least a 4-star, and I want to say they're like my favorites, because will I reread them? Probably not, but there's still books that are worth picking up if you guys haven't read them yet. Now we're going to talk about my favorite authors of 2025. This should all come by no surprise because I've probably already mentioned them in my favorite books. I narrowed them down to my top 3. So my first one, Kennedy Ryan. Obviously, that's by no surprise. I probably read like 5 or 6 of her books this year. The second author I want to say is Jessica George. I read her 2 books, Mame and Love Bite Book. Loves both of them. And the third author I want to say is Bolu Babalala. I really enjoyed Sweet Heat and Honey and Spice. I think my criteria for my favorite authors were authors that, for one, I read at least 2 of their books this year, and I enjoyed both two books, which means I rated both books at least 4 stars. So that's how I kind of like narrowed the 3 authors down to. So that's it for that category. Now onto my favorite book content creators, and I'll try to like keep this fast because I've definitely been talking for a while now. So the first person I would want to mention is Bookmarked by Aaliyah. I love her channel and the fact that, you know, every Sunday she posts, like I think she posts at like 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. every single Sunday. Definitely appreciate when, you know, and that's something that eventually I want to like adopt for my channel, is picking like a date and time. And if you guys have any suggestions for that, let me know in the comment section. I would like to just have like a consistent date and time release for my videos. Next person I want to talk about is Lex Reads. I really enjoy her videos. She's usually a lot more like relaxed. She doesn't do a lot of vlogs. It's mainly like sit downs, which I also enjoy. The third person I want to talk about is Shaughnessy Schroeder, and she's probably one of like the most popular booktuber on my list, or even in general. Like when you think about booktubers, she's up there. I really enjoy her videos. She's the one that posts consistently twice a week. I think it's Tuesday and Saturdays, and you can always rely on her to like post and give you good content. My fourth one I would definitely say is Kayla's Bookish Vibes. I really enjoy her videos. Like she's definitely like the historical fiction queen. While we both love like different book genres, I still enjoy watching her. She loves like fantasy, she loves historical fiction, and I just like watching her vlogs and her content in general. So these are all people that, you know, I love them for different reasons. Like I don't watch them particularly for a certain thing, and if you don't already watch them, I would say try out one of the videos and see if they're for you. So the next person I want to talk about is Shelby and the Book Club. She's just so funny. Like I literally cracked up watching her last video that she posted yesterday. I think it was the books that deserve movie adaptation video, and I really just cracked up watching her video. So she's definitely one that, you know, to watch. So the next person I want to talk about is Shar Reads Things. So I mainly follow Shar on Goodreads. Like she posts on YouTube too, but I believe she like took a break sometime this year, and she's not someone that like posts super consistently, but still when she posts I like try to watch it. She's definitely one that reads a lot of like non-Western books, so I sometimes find out about some African authors and books from her. So I would definitely recommend you follow her on Goodreads. She's one that like reads a lot. I want to say she's probably pushing like 200 books this year, so she's definitely one to follow. Now I'm down to 2. So the next one is the favorite reader, and this is someone I just found out about like a couple months ago. She's to me like the queen of like book reviews. She doesn't really do like monthly wrap-ups or TBRs. She mainly just whatever she's read in that week or in a certain period of time, she'll just give you like a good sit down book review. And she's one that reads a lot of like older books. Like I don't think I've watched anybody that like reads as much like books that were like published in the 90s, 2000s type of you know, books. She's one. So like if you really want to like diversify your reading, I would say please check her out. And the last person I want to talk about is someone that honestly I don't even really watch her for her books, but I do enjoy her reading vlogs, and this is Carla Espinosa. Her productive vlogs are really nice to watch. It just makes you feel like you need to be more productive. So that's my last book content creator that I want to say has inspired my reading year. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. It's definitely been a lot of yapping for me, but I hope you guys take some inspiration either from my favorite books, favorite authors, or favorite book content creators. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye.